You're at the grocery store. The cashier leans over, makes a silly face at your baby, and your baby lights up, big gummy smile, bright eyes, little coos of delight. The cashier laughs and says, "What a happy baby." You smile back, but inside, you're thinking something else. Because 20 minutes ago, when you were playing with your baby at home, trying everything to get that same reaction, you got almost nothing. Calm observation, mild interest, maybe a small smile if you worked really hard for it. But not this. Not the full performance your baby is putting on right now for a complete stranger. This happens everywhere. The neighbor gets the giggles. The pediatrician gets the charm. Random people at the park get the full social butterfly routine. And you, the person who wakes up at 3 a.m., who knows every cry, who has memorized every inch of this baby's face, you get seriousness, calm, sometimes almost stoic observation. And if you're honest, it stings a little. Not enough to say out loud, but enough to wonder, does my baby not like me as much? Am I doing something wrong? Why does everyone else get the joy? Here's what almost no parent realizes. That serious face your baby gives you, that calm, focused, less performative version of themselves they show when you're holding them, is not rejection. It is the opposite. It is the single strongest indicator that your baby feels completely, unconditionally safe with you. And the neuroscience behind why this happens will completely reframe how you see your child. The obvious explanation is that babies are just unpredictable. Sometimes they smile, sometimes they don't. It's random, mood-dependent. Maybe they're more awake at the store. Maybe the lighting is better. Maybe the stranger's face is just funnier. This sounds reasonable. It also misses the entire point. Because researchers who study infant social behavior have found that this pattern is not random at all. It is one of the most consistent, replicable phenomena in developmental psychology, and it has a name: secure base effect. Here's how it works. In the 1960s and 70s, psychologist Mary Ainsworth was studying how babies interact with their primary caregivers versus other adults. She designed experiments where babies were placed in rooms with their mothers, with strangers, and in various combinations of both. What she found changed everything we thought we knew about infant attachment. Babies with secure attachments, the healthiest psychological bond, showed a very specific pattern. When their mother was present, they were calm, exploratory. They played independently. They didn't need constant interaction. But when a stranger entered, the baby's behavior shifted. They became more animated, more socially engaged, more performative, not because they liked the stranger more, because they were assessing them. Ainsworth realized that babies treat familiar caregivers and unfamiliar people with completely different social strategies. With you, their secure base, they don't need to work, they don't need to perform, they don't need to check in constantly or win your approval. They already have it. Their nervous system knows this at a deep, pre-verbal level. You are safe, you are permanent, you are the psychological home base. So when you're holding them, they relax, they observe, they process, they exist without effort. But a stranger is unknown, unpredictable, potentially relevant to assess, so the baby's brain activates a different system. Social engagement, charm, the smile, the coo, the wide eyes, these are not expressions of joy, they are data collection tools. Your baby is figuring out who this person is and whether they're safe, and the easiest way to do that is to engage and watch what happens. Now here's where the neuroscience gets fascinating. Because this social performance your baby puts on for strangers is not conscious. It is driven by one of the oldest parts of the human brain, the social engagement system, mapped by psychiatrist Stephen Porges in his polyvagal theory. Porges found that humans have multiple nervous system states. One of them, the ventral vagal state, is activated during safe social interaction. It controls facial expressions, vocalizations, and the muscles around the eyes and mouth. When a baby sees an unfamiliar face, their brain runs a rapid assessment, threat or safe. If the person seems safe, non-threatening, warm, the ventral vagal system activates. The baby's face lights up, they smile, they engage. This is not happiness, this is biology. The baby is using their face as a tool to keep the interaction positive and gather more information. But when a baby is with their primary caregiver, someone their nervous system has already categorized as deeply, permanently safe, the ventral vagal system doesn't need to work as hard. There's nothing to assess, nothing to perform. The baby can drop into a deeper state of calm. Researchers at the University of Virginia studied cortisol levels in infants during interactions with parents versus strangers. What they found was striking. Babies held by strangers, even friendly ones, showed slight elevations in cortisol, the stress hormone. Not high enough to indicate distress, just enough to indicate alertness, the nervous system on low-level surveillance. But babies held by their primary caregiver showed baseline cortisol, fully relaxed, no activation. They didn't need to monitor the situation because their brain already knew the outcome. You are safe. I can rest. This is why your baby looks so serious with you. They are not bored. They are not disappointed. They are regulated. They are in a state of deep nervous system calm that they cannot access with anyone else. And that calm often looks to an adult expecting smiles and giggles, like disinterest. But it's the opposite. It's trust at a biological level. Here's the part that makes this even more profound. The smiles your baby gives to strangers are real, but they are not the same as the emotional connection your baby has with you. Developmental researchers distinguish between social smiles and attachment smiles. Social smiles are broad, performative, designed to elicit a response from another person. Babies start producing them around 6 to 8 weeks. They are incredibly effective. Adults find them irresistible, but they are not expressions of deep emotional bond. They are tools. Attachment smiles, on the other hand, are softer, more subtle. They happen in quiet moments, during feeding, during eye contact, when your baby is calm and gazing at your face. These smiles are not trying to get anything. They are simply the external expression of an internal feeling. I know you. I feel safe. You are mine. Most parents never notice attachment smiles because they don't look like the big performance smiles. They're easy to miss if you're expecting something more dramatic. But researchers who study frame-by-frame video of parent-infant interactions see them constantly. Tiny, fleeting, deeply meaningful. Your baby gives you these all the time. You just might not recognize them as the profound signals they are. Now I need to tell you about something that changes this entire dynamic, because not all babies show this pattern. Some babies smile equally for everyone. Some babies smile for no one. And some babies reverse the pattern entirely. They're serious with strangers and perform only for their caregivers. And understanding why reveals something critical about attachment and what to watch for. Babies with anxious attachment, those whose caregivers have been inconsistent or unpredictable in their responses, often develop a strategy called hyperactivation. They perform constantly. They work hard for every smile, every reaction, every sign of attention. Because their nervous system has learned that approval is conditional. That connection is something you have to earn, over and over. These babies don't relax. Even with their primary caregiver, they are always on, always engaging, always trying. And the tragic part is, to an outside observer, they often look like the happiest, most social babies. But inside, their stress system is running constantly. They never get to rest. On the opposite end, babies with avoidant attachment, those whose caregivers have been dismissive or emotionally unavailable, often show the reverse. They don't perform for anyone. They've learned that social bids don't work, that engaging doesn't produce connection, so they stop trying. They look calm, they look independent, but it's not the calm of security. It's the shutdown of a nervous system that has stopped expecting response. The healthy pattern, the secure pattern, is the one that looks almost contradictory, relaxed and serious with you, socially engaged and performative with others, because that combination shows a baby who knows where safety lives, who doesn't need to work for your love, who can afford to be curious about strangers because they have a secure base to return to. So the next time a stranger gets the megawatt smile and you get the calm, serious gaze, remember what's actually happening. Your baby is not choosing them over you. Your baby is showing you the deepest form of trust a human nervous system can express. They don't need to convince you. They don't need to assess you. They don't need to perform. They can just be, fully, completely, without effort. And that serious little face, the one that looks almost unimpressed, is actually your baby saying something most adults spend their entire lives trying to find the words for. With you, I can rest. With you, I am home. If this reframed how you see your baby's behavior, subscribe to this channel and drop a comment below. Does your baby do this? Are they all charm for strangers and serious for you? Because I want to know. And if you want to understand why your baby cries the second you sit down to eat, not because they need anything, but because of something happening in their developing sense of object permanence, that's the next video. And the timing is not coincidence.